I moved to Mexico, giving you a sneak peek into the lives of Americans and Canadians who live in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. We're here today with Holly Stewart from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and she's been living in Puerto Vallarta for 4 years now. Holly and I have known each other for a while, and she's my neighbor here where we live in Mezcales, which for those who know the area is between Bucerias and Nuevo Vallarta, just north of Puerto Vallarta. Holly, so why don't you tell us a little bit more? I know you were coming here for a little bit before you wound up moving here permanently and deciding to make that move. And you kind of knew Puerto Vallarta a little bit and you traveled a little bit and all of that. And when did you decide to make that transition from a tourist to a permanent resident?
Yeah. So I was living in Calgary with my husband at the time and my 10-month-old daughter and my 2-year-old. And I was going through a little bit of postpartum depression at the time. And my mom actually had been already living here for 15 years. And my husband, who is Mexican, my husband at the time, who was Mexican, his family was living here as well. Yeah, so I was just sitting there one day and I'm just kind of like, why don't we just pack up all our crap and go to Vallarta? I mean, our parents are already living there. They could be enjoying their grandkids right now, So he was just like, sure. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, so the company he was working for at the time, they have locations sort of all over the place. So he went on the job board and just to see if there was something in Mexico. And it turned out that there was actually something sort of in his field and sort of close to Vallarta. So like the stars were really aligning at this point to move here. So I was like, okay. So he talked to his boss and he applied for the job and he ended up getting it. But the thing is that we only had 2 weeks to get here because the job was starting. So it was like a mad panic. Like, are we going to sell our house? Are we going to rent it? Are we going to put our stuff in storage? So it's kind of like a mad dash.
Oh my God,
yeah, so
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. So,
I would die.
Yeah, I know,
I feel
right?
like it took me like years to
I
move
know.
abroad.
Yeah. So we ended up renting our house kind of at the last minute and just kind of putting our stuff in storage. And the plan was to just sort of come here temporarily as expats for maybe 2 years and then leave and come back once the kids started school full time. So that was kind of our plan. But that was 4 years ago. So here we are. We're still here. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your husband is Mexican and he's a Mexican citizen?
Yeah, he's Mexican.
And did you get your permanent residency?
Yes. So that really sped things along. I got my permanent residency right away. And my kids were able to get their passports, they're dual citizens, and all of that. So that really, really helped with kind of the 2-week scramble. We sort of were really lucky that he was Mexican and we were able to get all that stuff done.
Yeah, no kidding. I got my citizenship through my daughter. The family thing is who was
yeah.
born here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not citizenship. I got my residency,
Yeah.
but I'm eligible for the citizenship. So I know like through family in Mexico makes it a lot easier usually.
Yes, it does for sure.
Yeah.
We're really lucky.
Yeah, definitely. So aside from that, I know you came here for your husband's job at the time, your ex-husband now. What did you wind up doing for work? Did you wind up working here remotely or what kind of did you?
Okay, so when we moved here, I was basically just a stay-at-home mom while he worked, but I was always dabbling in e-commerce on the side. So at the time, before the pandemic, I was selling bathing suits on Instagram in Mexico. So they would ship directly to the customer from China. So, it was great because I didn't have to ship anything myself and it was pretty automated. So I was doing that. But then COVID hit. And so as soon as I heard that this virus hit China, I was like, oh my God, like that's where all my stuff is shipping from. So I was like immediately like, okay, this is going to destroy this business. So I had to sort of act fast and I ended up selling the business really quickly. And so then I just started.
Somebody who wasn't,
who had no idea that this business wasn't going to take off.
Who was overly optimistic about the impact.
That's exactly what happened.
You're like, I don't have a good feeling about this at all.
So I had to do it really fast, right?
Yeah.
So I sold that. And so then the pandemic hit, and I was like, I found myself in a pretty rough situation. So my marriage wasn't working out very well, and I was kind of like scrambling. I'm like, okay, I have to figure something out, and I have to do it now. So I'm like, what can I do? Like, I can't ship I need to work online. I can't ship anything physically. I'm like, what am I going to do? So then I'm like, digital products, like graphic design. But I was like, hey, I'm not a graphic designer at all. Like, I have no artistic ability whatsoever.
Really? I didn't know you weren't graphic designing at that point.
No, not at all. Wow. Not at all. So then I just thought it was the best thing to do because it didn't involve any shipping. It was just, you send it through email. So I'm like, okay, like, let's just check it out. So I did some research. Like, I went on Etsy and I found like a little niche, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn. I'm interested. I'm going to learn this. So I started staying up till 3 a.m. for like months on end. And yeah, so I was learning that, and I decided that I was going to sort of start freelancing. So yeah, I opened an Etsy store. I started doing like selling on Upwork and Fiverr and all those freelancing websites.
Yeah.
So it took off right away, and I was like, what? I'm not a designer, but this is great. So I just kind of rolled with it.
Yeah.
So, but the problem at the time also was that there were also some other issues. Like, my mom had just had a stroke here too. So I was trying to help her out. I had my 2 kids. I was really busy, and I was like, I just don't have time to do this work. What am I going to do? So I'm like, I really need to just find something that's automated more. So, you make the money, but you don't do much work. Everyone's dream. Yeah. So I started looking into it more, and I found out that you can just do the designs ahead of time, like a business card or something. And so you can design them ahead of time, and then the person would purchase them and just sort of personalize it. So
like a template.
Yeah, exactly. So they can change their name, business name. So the work on your end is already done. You just have to automate it so that they buy it and do it themselves.
Oh, wow.
So that's what I did. And I don't know, it just took off.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. So that, to this day, I'm still doing that. I'm trying to, now that I have a bit more time, I'm trying to expand that more. So I was kind of dabbling in web design as well. So I started to create these like small businesses along with like business plans, and I would just sell them as startup companies to people. I had no idea like how it was going to turn out, but I did it. So I've been kind of working on that right now. So it's just I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants as I'm here.
Oh my goodness.
Kind of adapting to what's going on around me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And just kind of, going with the flow, exactly. Pivoting as everybody did during the pandemic, exactly. Evolving,
It's like adapt or die, right?
It is. And it's nice to be somewhere where the cost of living is a little bit lower. So you have a little bit more flexibility and more time to kind of start your own business.
Yeah, I feel like here you can really stretch the or the peso, I guess. A peso can be really stretched further here. So that's a good thing about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really sorry to hear about your mom having a stroke. How is she now?
So this happened about 2 years ago. She's doing better. She's living here still. She has 24-hour nursing care.
Oh, wow.
At her house. She lives in like a condo complex. So she has a team of nurses that sort of rotate and help her during the day. I'm not sure exactly, but you pay for what you get here. So yeah, so she requires that. And she also has physio that she needs at least once or twice a day, because she's in a wheelchair full time. She can't walk. So, but the pool, which she has access to, it really helps her out a lot. So that's great. It's been really good for her. So she goes to the pool, and I go there and I help her, and the physiotherapist that she has is really good. And So I'm really impressed with the care that she's been getting here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. That's great.
Like
Yeah.
you never know when something's going to happen here, right? Living
Exactly.
here full time. So,
Yeah.
but like if you ever need something like an MRI or something, it's available right away. You don't have to wait 6 months to get it. Which
Yeah.
back in Canada, you have to wait. I mean, you do have to pay for it, but
Yeah.
here,
But out of pocket is, it's almost the same, at least in the States. I know in Canada, the healthcare is a little more accessible.
It
but,
is.
in the States, you're paying out of pocket almost as much as the full cost just for the premium of your health insurance, So
right.
it's, because I paid out of pocket to have a child for childbirth.
Right.
And it was like $1,500 or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was the same amount that I paid out of pocket just for the, the copay when I went to go, when I had my son in the States.
Okay.
So,
wow. That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah. No.
And it was great. I mean, I was like in a really nice hospital with like a great view.
Yeah.
I had this huge room to myself. And I was just like, I felt like the quality of care was really,
it's really good.
Nice. Yeah.
It's nice.
Exactly.
So if you want to pay for it, you have the care, which is
Exactly.
really nice. So I've been really impressed. And she also has a doctor that comes to see her if she needs it. So she's well taken care of here. So, but the pool thing is really, in Canada, like she can't just, you'd have to drive, get in the traffic and go to her pool. Here, it's like right outside her door. So it's really accessible.
Yeah.
So it's been really nice for her here.
And where does she live?
She lives right by La Cruz, like right as you're entering La Cruz de Guanacaxtli.
Yeah.
It's right there on the left-hand side in like a condo complex. So it's really close to here where we are. So it's easy for me to just go and I have to take her to some appointments. So I just go back and forth and it's really easy. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So you up and left Canada in 2 weeks' time and you came here, you've been here for 4 years. What would you say between, what it looked like when you were just a tourist and what it looks like now that you're living here? Of course, people are like, oh, you're living in a vacation town. You must be on vacation all the time. It's like, of course, real life is real life and it comes with, stresses and challenges no matter where you are and you're not ever going to be always on vacation. It is a beautiful place. What is have you noticed any sort of difference between what you saw from the visitor standpoint and what you actually living here up close?
Yeah. Actually, not really. There are a few things. Like I really noticed the vibe in Puerto Vallarta. Like most people here are retired, so they're more laid back, and just the vibe here compared to home is just I just had a lot of anxiety living in Canada, but living here full time, I've just really relaxed a lot, and it's just kind of like that. Like I feel a lot more relaxed here, not so much anxiety.
I really think it's good for your mental health.
Yeah.
It's true.
I honestly feel like it puts years back on your life.
Yeah.
I'm still young, but I feel like it's true. I mean, you are in the sun all day, you're on a beach. It's not always like beach life vacation, but it's just nice to be in this atmosphere. Just everyone it's just so refreshing to be here.
Yeah.
It's just such a nice atmosphere. Back in Canada, it was such a rat race. It was just stress, go, work. It's not like that here at all. So I noticed that a lot. One thing that I did notice was things take a lot longer here than you might be used to at home. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed that, but so for example, if you need an electrician, so if you're expecting him to show up at 1, he might show up at 5, or he might show up the next week. So,
exactly. You're like, am I just supposed to stay home for 3 weeks in a row and just be ready to receive?
And you can't get a hold of them either.
Yeah.
You call them, they don't answer. So like I need my dryer broke, and so I needed a part. So he was supposed to show up, and he showed up the week later, and just kind of waltzed in like nothing happened and didn't say anything. And that's normal here. And it's fine. You just have to sort of adapt to that.
I know. And if you complain, people are like, welcome to Mexico.
Exactly right. So that was just sort of one thing that I did notice.
Yeah, definitely. It's not something you could see from like, your tourist standpoint. You go to a hotel, you're like, you don't need a laundry repair. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Yeah.
So I would say be prepared for that. Like when you come here, like have your contacts, just sort of get to know people and have like 3 backup plans.
Yeah.
In case you don't expect something to be fixed right away.
Oh yeah.
I would say.
Definitely. Like, you adjust your expectations. They say happiness is the difference between expectations and reality.
Exactly.
So if you keep your expectations low and the reality is low, you're still happy, but if maybe it's even better.
Yeah,
the lower your expectations, basically, the happier you are.
Don't have high expectations. Expect the unexpected, you know? Exactly.
Yeah. So that kind of brings me to my next question. If you could tell people back home in Canada or, in the States who might be considering flirting with the idea of a move to Mexico, is there anything you wish you knew that maybe you could have avoided some sort of issue or some sort of challenge if you had known that would help people to know just kind of going in? Aside from the lower expectation thing, maybe you already answered that question. That's probably what made me think of it.
No, I mean, just do your research.
Yeah.
It's a great place to live. Just come here, take a chance.
Yeah.
I do want to say though, I feel like the media right now is doing a really good job of making people scared to come here, even just to travel or to move.
Yeah.
And I kind
it's
of
intentional.
Want to say, that Puerto Vallarta is one of the safest places in Mexico to live.
Yeah.
And, just take a chance on it. Once you get here, you realize that the media is kind of crazy a little bit.
Yeah, because you're like, what were they talking about?
I know. I mean, take precautions everywhere you go. But I'll just say this, that I feel really comfortable sending my kids to school here. I'm not worried that I'm going to send them to school and something bad's going to happen to them. Like,
absolutely.
There's other places in the world that aren't as safe. So every place has their thing. So absolutely. I would just say, do your research. And honestly, like if you are thinking about moving here, just take a chance.
Yeah.
It's a really good place to live.
It really is.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great that you bring that up and say it, because I know it's on people's minds a lot, and the media can be very manipulative, and if that's your main source of information, then that might be where you're drawing your perception from abroad, but when you come here, my husband, he's Mexican American.
Yeah.
And before we were even together, and this is part of what brought us together, was being here together. But I know he also had kind of a negative perception of Mexico. And I kind of called him. I was like, okay, I'm here in Puerto Vallarta.
I'm living here.
I'm living here. Everybody's really nice. Yeah. It's great. The food is really good. You should really check it out. I swear, people are really nice and it's very safe.
Yeah.
And, he came here and, immediately fell in love with Puerto Vallarta and me. And now we live here permanently, and we choose to raise our kids here. And I think when you're a parent, your instinct for choosing a place, especially if you're maybe on the verge of, you're not sure, you have kids during the pandemic or something, and everything's in the air, and you're like, oh God, your instinct kicks in. You're like, you want to bring them up in a safe place, So obviously we wouldn't be here raising our kids here.
Exactly. Like a lot of people think it's crazy when they hear like, well, it's not that unsafe here. They're like, there's so many cartels and whatever. But like every place has their thing, and it's just precautions.
Yeah,
it's just,
you take
if you
precautions.
Don't get involved in the cartel, you'll be fine.
Try not to do direct transactions with the cartel.
Exactly.
You'll be fine. Yeah. So is that kind of why you've decided to stay after kind of coming here and just up and leaving? You've been here for 4 years now. You've gone through a separation with your husband, and the pandemic has kind of subsided, and you chose not to go back. And would you say that was what kept you here, the lifestyle, or?
Yeah, definitely the thing with my mom. I just felt like I needed to be here for her. That, and definitely just the lifestyle here.
Yeah.
I feel very at home here. I was almost scared to go back to Canada because I hadn't been back since before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I kind of heard a few stories about what was going on there and some of the politics, and I was just nervous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why would I even go back now? Like, I'm here and there's nothing. I feel safe. My kids are happy at their school. They have friends. My mom's here. Their grandparents are here. Actually, my brother had also moved here.
I know. That is really,
so his wife moved here. My niece is here. So everybody is here. So for me, it made the most sense to just stay.
Yeah.
So I just didn't really want to go back to that. And also the weather is just, the cold is just, the winters are too long. This is nice,
I know. The summer's a little hot.
Actually, the thing about that here is that I don't know if you've been to San Sebastian. Have you been? Okay. So yes, it gets super hot here in like August, September, even October is screaming hot. It's too hot. But there's places that you can go here to escape the heat. And one of those places that's really nice is San Sebastian. And it's only like an hour and a half to drive.
Oh, San Sebastian de la Oeste. I think.
Yeah.
Is that what
Is
it's
it Tela
called?
Oeste?
Maybe
Okay.
not.
It's 2 hours like west of Puerto Vallarta.
Okay.
And it's like an old mining town.
Okay.
So
And it's
there's
very cool.
yes, it's in the mountains.
Yeah.
So there's only about 500 people that live there now.
Yeah.
So it's in the mountains. So it's about, okay, I don't know Fahrenheit. I'm used to Celsius. It's about.
We'll have to translate this for the Americans.
So I was going to say,
even me, I've been out of the States for almost for 15 years now, just about, and I still don't really get the Celsius. I just try to like add and subtract 30, but then it only works for certain temperatures, and so it's complicated.
I'd say so instead of going from here, so like 70 to 80 Fahrenheit, it's about 10 to 15 degrees cooler.
10 to 15 degrees Celsius cooler.
Celsius. You have to stop.
Check it out.
Thank you, Siri. That was weird.
Okay.
AI is always present. Okay, so what temperature is it here in Celsius?
Right now, about 30 degrees.
30 degrees Celsius. Yeah. And so instead of being 30 degrees Celsius, there it's like 20.
Yeah, even it could get even
15
cooler
to
too.
20
yeah.
degrees Celsius. Okay.
Yeah. So,
wow. Yeah,
and then
that's
at night,
cool.
Like wear a light jacket. So that's good if you don't have the option to fly somewhere during the summer.
Yeah.
You can just drive for 2 hours and you're in the mountains.
Yeah.
So that's what's really good about this area.
Yeah, definitely.
Or if you want like a surfer beach or something, you can go to Sayulita or San Pancho. There's little areas that you can go to. You don't have to just be stuck in Vallarta.
It's true. And also, it's definitely recommended to be near a pool if you're going to be here for the summertime, because that's what we do all summer. The kids just swim in the pool all day, and it's only a couple hours. It's really hot in the middle of the day. You're either in your house, or in the AC, or at a pool. So
or the beach.
At the beach,
it's right there. It's free.
Exactly.
We have some beautiful beaches. So
really, and there's never really that crowded.
Not really,
except for right now, the Semana Santa.
During Easter, it's pretty bad, or Christmas, but that's okay.
Yeah,
there's enough beaches to go around for everyone. There's a lot of space, so
definitely,
it's a good thing to do with the kids.
Oh yeah, I know. My husband talks about that all the time. Like, where can you live by the coast? For this cost of living, in the States. Like nowhere.
Where?
I don't,
where can you?
Yeah.
Where?
It's just like the beaches are expensive, or they're dirty, or they're crowded. I know there's some nice beaches in the States, of course, but here they're just so abundant, and they are really not that crowded.
They're really not.
If one beach is crowded, you're like, oh, I guess we'll go 5 minutes to the next one. You know what I mean? It's nice.
I know, and it's so close.
Yeah.
It's like a 10-minute drive, so
it's
really convenient.
Yeah.
So if you're ever bored, just go to the beach.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
What do you miss anything from back home?
Okay, so not really, to be honest. The thing I do kind of miss, though, is like the change in seasons. So I'm still not used to waking up on Christmas morning here and it just being summer. Like I just really miss the white Christmas feeling.
Oh, I know, the nostalgia.
Yeah,
I miss the most the fall.
That's what I was just going to say. When the leaves change color and it's just that feeling you get of fall. Like, I love the feeling when you just know it's going to change seasons. Here it's just summer the whole time.
And you're just like sweating, looking at pictures of people on Instagram, like with leaves and sweaters, and you're like, oh.
But they're jealous of you too. They're like, oh, you're on a beach. I'm jealous of you. So we're just jealous of each other.
Yeah, exactly. The grass is always greener.
I know.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only thing that I do miss about
fall.
I don't miss the winter.
No, but winter, no, exactly. If I could just go for fall.
Yeah, go for fall and then come back and enjoy the summer. So
yeah, I used to do that before I had kids, and I was living in Central America, and I would go stay with my parents for fall.
I know.
And, that was great. Yeah. It's not really, you can't do it forever, probably.
No, it's just a short window of time, and then you're back to the heat. So not complaining about the heat. Like, I love it here, but I do miss the changing of the seasons.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then what do you miss the least?
The snow. Where I'm from, I feel like I've brought this up a lot. Yeah, Calgary is really cold. I feel like it's 10 months of winter the whole year.
Yeah.
Like, it never warms up, and then it warms up for 2 months. And even then, it's just raining most of the time too. So it's just, I feel like we get like one solid month in August of summer in Calgary, and you're back to the cold. And just, I don't miss sitting in traffic or my car's in a ditch because there's so much black ice on the road.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
I really, the whole rat race about it.
Oh God.
I just feel like a lot of people were really depressed and just stressed out about work all the time. And, you know, you go to work 12 hours a day, you come home, and that's it. You eat dinner and you go to bed. I feel like that's kind of the lifestyle there.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but just here is just more laid back. Like,
yeah.
Just the vibe I love here.
And it's like everybody's free at random times because people work in tourism and,
That's
you know,
the thing,
and just a different schedule. So it's not just like this
Yeah, and-
routine. It's
yeah.
just kind of like,
And
come to this
there-
party on a Wednesday afternoon.
exactly.
And you're like, all right, I guess.
I know. I feel like there you have to schedule weeks in advance if
Yeah.
you want to make plans with somebody. Here it's like, come over in an hour for a drink.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be there. Bring my
Sure.
kids and have a swim. Like, it's really that type of atmosphere.
It
here.
really is.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I love that. And I wanted that for my kids.
Yeah.
So I just love it here.
Oh, that's great. I'm so happy to hear that. And it's been really amazing to have you as our third guest.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to talk to you.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add that we didn't cover or that you want to say to people?
No, I think just take a chance on Puerto Vallarta. You won't regret it. There's many Canadians, Americans that are living here and full-time now, and nobody's going back. So if you want a change in your life, I would say take a chance and come here. It's just beautiful, and you have a place to stay if you want to just visit. You can stay with me. Yeah.
You better be careful. You're going to get a bunch of random calls.
As long as I know you. Yeah. So I think that's it for me. So.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe and check out our website for more information about lifestyle on Mexico's Pacific Coast here in Puerto Vallarta, Dyanimite.com.
Bye.